Soundstripe.
Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to the Natalie Wisewoman podcast, where I discuss different topics related to becoming your highest potential. Enjoy this episode. Hello, and welcome to this episode of the Natalie Wisewoman podcast. Today, I am joined by Michelle, who is brave enough to share her story. And we are going to discuss a little bit of a different topic than normally. So this is still related to wellness and related to health and, how we can be in our fullest potential. We are going to discuss kind of beauty standards, plastic surgery, and specifically breast implant surgery. And personally, for me, this is one of the hardest topics I've talked about so far, because I noticed that there is still a lot of judgment towards myself and towards my journey, and some kind of fear that if I share my truth and my story fully, then people will reject me or something. Like, there is something inside of me that I noticed that there is resistance to share this story, but I feel that that this is such an important topic and not enough people are talking about it, that I'm willing to risk all these kind of uncomfortable feelings that I have about this topic. Because if I can help, or if we can help even one or two people to make a better decision, to make an empowered decision about their health, then I think that is worth sharing my story and sharing our stories. And my aim has been to be in my authentic self and kind of share my truth. So the background behind this, why we're talking about this, is that there is something called breast implant illness, and it's something that I hadn't heard about, and I think most people have not heard about this topic. And hundreds of thousands of women around the world are suffering from this. An illness or different symptoms that arise from having put in breast implants. So that is something that your average influencer might not tell you when they go and do that kind of surgery, or your surgeon or a doctor will not tell you or even know about these things. So I think it's important to bring awareness to this topic. And my personal journey, I was when I was younger, I was very obsessed with Hollywood, and of course wanted to be on film, and kind of very obsessed about the way I looked, and also feeling very uncomfortable in the way I looked, and kind of related to the eating disorder I had when I was younger. And growing up with playing with Barbies, and then getting influence from Hollywood and movies and all that, where celebrities just look perfect, and many of them have a lot of plastic surgery. And then kind of when I became an adult, I was very into the fitness scene and into bodybuilding, and was on a journey even to go and compete in fitness. And in that environment, really, breast implant surgery is more common than, it's a majority of women who compete in fitness and bikini fitness and physique, they actually have implants. So it's very, very common. And that was something, those were the people that I was looking up to. And I was like, well, at some point I'm gonna get the surgery when I have the money. And I kind of knew that was something that I wanted to do. And then when I finally had the money to do the surgery, I was trying to heal my low self-esteem and, my feeling of unworthiness with something external. So trying to, have a surgery make me love myself more. And I mean, if I have to be honest, it worked in a way where I did feel more confident, and did feel more feminine. And, I'm still a very curvy woman, so it wasn't like too obvious, but it was, it did give me some kind of confidence. But thinking about it now, trying to make something external kind of make your, to feel love for yourself is not really, it's based on a condition. So it's not unconditional love, because you are basing it on, when my stomach is flat, then I will love myself. When I have big breasts, then I will love myself. And that is, that can fade away right away. Something can happen, or it's not forever. So, we have to really build self-love from the inside out, unconditional love, whatever we look like, whatever happens to us, whatever we do, we don't have to do anything. We don't have to look like anything to be able to love ourselves. And that's unconditional love, instead of trying to make something from the outside. And I know there's so many trends, and we are being so influenced by the outside world. And especially, as for me, I was a child in the 90s. It was very popular to have implants, and all the celebrities had that. And that's where all that influence came from. And so yeah, that was something that I decided to do at the time. And then I got more into kind of the health information. And at some point I actually heard about breast implant illness, and I knew that if I was going to dig into the topic, then I was going to want to get them out as fast as possible. So that's why I waited. I heard about the topic, and I kind of realized that, oh, wow, there's people that are actually getting sick from implants. But then I knew, okay, I'm not able to do the surgery now, so I don't want to go too deep into it. And I kind of waited until the time was right. And then when I kind of listened to the podcasts and to the people sharing their story, I realized that, these are just time ticking bombs that are inside of me, and I really have to get rid of them. And knew that was going to mean that I had to start dealing with those feelings about, what I was going to look different. My breasts were going to be different. And I had to kind of work on that self-love. And that has been a journey for me as well. And I was lucky enough to not get really sick, as many women have. And I think there are so many women who are not given a voice and kind of suffering in silence, with these issues, and not even maybe connecting them, like having different kind of symptoms, and the doctor is just going to be like, well, you should eat healthy or exercise or something like this, and the woman still knows that something is wrong with them. And so kind of the aim with this episode is not to make a decision for someone or tell anyone what to do, but more to share another side of the story that your surgeon will most likely not tell you, that your influencer will not tell you. And then when you have a different side of the story, you have a different point of view, then you can make a more empowered decision. So it's always good to get different viewpoints. So then if you decide to get surgery, you already have surgery, then you can make a decision out of that, state of empowerment. So that's really the aim with this, not to shame anyone or judge or, make any decisions for anyone, but just share stories. So today I have Michelle here, and she has been through a quite rough journey with implants. And I'm very happy that she's brave enough to share her story. So just start with, I would like to ask you, so what was the reason, and what led you to make this decision in the first place, that you wanted surgery, or you felt like you needed to have implant surgery?
Well, I discovered in 2015 that I was BRCA1 positive, where you are more likely to get breast cancer or ovarian cancer. As BRCA1 positive, your chances of breast cancer are up to 80% before you turn 40. And when I found this out in 2015, I was 27 or 28. So that was a big shock for me. And I lost my mother and my grandmother and my aunt to breast cancer. So I have seen firsthand what breast cancer can do. The cancer that runs in our family is extremely aggressive. It spreads like wildfire. So there was really no choice than to do something preventive because I wanted a family and I wanted to live long. So I quickly decided I am going to have everything removed that can give me cancer. Uh, it's just not a chance I was willing to take. So in 2017, I had my uterus and ovaries removed. No problem. It went fine. I have had no problems since. And in 2019, I had my breast removed, and I chose the easy option to get my breast tissue removed and replaced with implants. It was supposed to be really easy, but it just went sideways. It ended up in 10 surgeries within 2 years to get it to the point where it is today. Um, and shortly after I was done with all these surgeries, I started getting these weird symptoms, and my blood work was kind of off, and I was just not feeling right. I just had this feeling something is wrong. And I went to my doctors, my primary physicians, uh, constantly, like saying, I know something is wrong. Why do my labs look like that? Why is my cholesterol through the roof? Why is my metabolism so low? I am gaining weight. My face is puffy. I have rashes. My breast hurts. Um, I can't sleep at night. I'm losing my hair. It was just, the list was just going on and on. And they were like, we don't know, just eat healthy and your cholesterol will maybe look better, or it was just like no help at all. And I was just, it's stupid to Google your symptoms because you find out often that something is very, very wrong. But all of a sudden I saw this on Google, breast implant illness, and this list of symptoms, and I was like, oh my God, this is it. This is what is wrong with me. I could just feel it in my bones. This is it. I showed my husband, and he said, "That's you. That's 100% you. That's everything you're struggling with." So I went to my surgeon, and because my breast had been hurting, I have severe capsule on my right breast, and my left is just it's so hypersensitive that I can't barely touch it. I have to wear these big padded sports tops because uh, the second they get just a little bit too cold or a little too hot, it hurts like hell. It is excruciatingly painful. So I went to the doctors one of the doctors who had been doing my surgeries, and I told her, "Do you know about this breast implant illness? Is it a thing?" Or and she was like, "No way, that is not a thing. That is made up. It doesn't exist. It's nothing." And I was like, "You might say that, but it feels real to me, and I know it is real." But she agreed that uh, I needed a new surgery, and because I was in so much discomfort and there was such a big capsule on my right breast, so she referred me to some CT scans to check if the blood vessels in my stomach were good enough to do this a new reconstructive surgery where they take tissue from my stomach and replace with the implants. And I got a new appointment with the primary surgery who has done all my surgeries. A wonderful, wonderful woman. I love her dearly. She has been great during all of this. And during that CT scan, they actually found a pretty big spot on my liver. So I was sent to here in Denmark, we have like a cancer package where you get sorted out really fast because they suspected liver cancer. Um, and I got to talk to her, and the follow-up scans of my liver said that it was probably, it looked like fatty spots. And I was like, how do I get a fatty liver? I live healthy and I work out. It just made no sense. And I told her about this breast implant illness, and I could just see on her face that she was not opposed to it at all. And I said as a joke right before leaving, I said, could those spots on my liver, that fatty spots, could that be from my implants? Could that, because silicone is a type of fat, essentially. And she was not too happy to answer, but she didn't say no. I said, all those issues I've had over the years, I've been to my own doctors for almost 40 times in the past year, and I usually go like 3 times a year. Could all my issues be related to those implants? And she wouldn't deny it. She she literally said it could be. She was not opposed to it at all, like the other surgeon was. So that made me really happy. But she could see I was in a lot of discomfort, and Uh, I've put on so much weight for the past year and a half. It is unbelievable, and I've changed nothing. I live even more healthy than I did before, and I just still keep on putting on weight. Uh, and my skin is weird. The symptoms, it just goes on and on. One of the longest lists of symptoms of BII. I have like 80% of the symptoms on and off, and it switches. Right now, my main problem is I have so much pain in my hands, and my fingers are swollen and full of fluid. And some days when I wake up, I can hardly open my eyes because my eyes are so puffy, my entire face is puffy. And I'm just, yeah, I just need to get them out as fast as possible.
Yeah, that sounds very rough. And that's something that certainly won't be discussed before someone enters surgery. I mean, they will, of course, have you sign a paper and there's a risk, but it's mostly the risks with the surgery. Like you're getting anesthetics and then, what can happen. And of course, you're just signing, but no one will tell you that in 3 or 4 years, you might actually start having, different rashes or, pain in your body or whatever, like whatever symptoms that it can create. And for people that don't know, it's a foreign object in your body, so your body will essentially try to get rid of them. Like that's the way the body works. When you put a foreign object, it first of all it creates this kind of capsule around the implant. And like you said that you had a very hard, right, like capsular contraction.
Yeah.
And I mean that's also what I realized. So when I approached the surgeon in Finland to get them removed, he was like, no, you don't need to move the capsules. And I was like, well, I want to. And he was like, there is no way that he's going to do it. Like he refuses to remove the capsules because there is no need to do that. And I was like, I already had scheduled the surgery. And I think it was a day before the surgery. My body was just freaking out, like, cancel this surgery. Like, you should not go with this doctor. And I was able to cancel the surgery. And then I found a amazing female surgeon in Sweden, in Stockholm. So I went there to have the surgery. And she does say that breast implant illness is real. And she took out the capsule. And when I saw her the first time, she was like, you have severe capsular contraction, you would have had to take them out anyway. And no one would have told me. Like I would have just walked with kind of like very hardened shells around the implants, and they were really yellow when they took them out. So I was like, this cannot be normal. So I mean, and even though you don't have like a tear or a hole in the implant, they still leak, so they can gas out you know, it's the body's heat with silicone, which is basically like a plastic. It's kind of, and it's filled with toxins and heavy metals. Like, why would you put toxins and heavy metals in something that is going into the female body? Like, that's my question.
Exactly.
But yeah, so these things still leak even though they don't like have a tear or anything. So I mean, the body's protecting with the capsule, but still, you know, you will have leakage, and some people will have more than others, and that then depends on what kind of symptoms. So that's also the reason why I felt like this is a time ticking bomb. Like, if I don't have a lot of symptoms now, they might come. Like,
Exactly.
yeah, so I think that's important for people to realize, like, if you make a decision to get implants, you should be prepared to have the same amount of money that you put into the surgery available for taking them out. If that would happen with, like, if you will get any problems or symptoms, or, you know, back problems, or you know, eventually you will have to take them out anyway. Like in 10 years, you will have to change them. So I mean, it's good to consider these things, that there are, you know, other sides. So was this something that you were very open about when you got the surgery? Were you able to talk to people about it, or did you feel like it was something that you needed to keep for yourself?
I've always been very open about it. Uh, it's when I had my first surgery to get my breast tissue removed, and I put the implants in. Unfortunately, shortly after surgery, an artery burst in my right breast, and they had to perform surgery again and drain a lot of blood, and it it impaired the blood flow to my left breast. So ultimately, like 10 days later, they had to remove my entire left breast. And for almost a year, I was completely flat on my left side. So I had this rubber boob to put in my bra to make it look like I had two breasts, but it just didn't feel comfortable. I had a very physical, active work, and it just didn't feel right to have this, you know, fake thing on my chest where when that wasn't how I looked. So usually I would just not wear it and be completely flat on my left side. And it didn't bother me. I would walk around in tight shirts or uh, pretty tops and just be flat. And yeah, some people asked, what the hell happened to you? And I would say it. I've always been very open, and it helps me still to this day to be very open about what I've been through with all my surgeries and the surgery that is to come. And um, I've been telling everybody, when they're saying, "Ugh, you're getting surgery again, aren't you done with those boobs?" And I was like, no, these implants are making me sick. And I have a lot of girlfriends who have breast implants, and they are saying, well, I'm fine. There's nothing wrong with me. My implants are good. And I was like, they might not be in a few years. You might start getting sick. And they're pretty, you know, they might think I'm a bit crazy, but I don't care because I'm experiencing this on my own body. And it's just important to get out there that you can get sick and you might eventually get sick. And some people have implants for maybe 10, 15 years, no problems, but it's just not worth it, in my opinion, to risk your own health like that. And I really wish I knew beforehand, before getting my very first surgery, that there was this possibility of breast implant illness, because I would have chosen a completely different route. I would have chosen another reconstructive surgery from the get-go, because this is just not worth it. This is terrible to feel sick every damn day. And now I just have to wait to get them removed and choose another way, choose another reconstructive surgery, which is very difficult and takes 6 to 8 hours and a lot of pain and discomfort afterwards. But I know it's going to be worth it because my life as it is now, it's not good. It doesn't feel right. And I feel sick all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's important to understand that there are people that are experiencing these symptoms. And I mean, when doctors or surgeons tell you that this is not real, then I would say, well, why are there hundreds of thousands of people in these Facebook groups that are for breast implant illness? Like, it's not like they are all making it up. And then when they go into surgery and have them removed, they recover, like their symptoms go away.
Exactly.
That's already a proof that this is something. It's just, they go to school and they have a certain kind of they learn certain things, and if the institutions that are teaching them have not accepted that this is real, then they will not accept it either if they have not done the research themselves, or kind of, so some surgeons are more, more open, and others will refuse these things. But I think that's why it's important to bring these things forward, that these and I remember I actually found a video of myself yesterday from a couple of days after my surgery, and I was like crying on the phone or into the video and saying how I can finally breathe. So like at the time when I had the implants, I would not have like agreed on that it would be harder to breathe. I was like, no way, it's normal. But then when I took them out, I was like, oh my God, like I can take a breath, like there's nothing pressing.
Wow.
So, I mean, those kind of small things that you wouldn't even know, and like how they are kind of, it's not all what it looks in a picture or like that. I mean, so I think it's important to be able to find that love from within. And I mean, consider that these things have risks, and with all kind of these kind of, I would say, surgeries and even Botox and everything, like these are toxic things. And I wish there was things for, instead of something that you could put in your breast that wasn't this harmful. And there are also other options, but I mean, they're not even making it aware that this is a bad option, in a sense,
No.
to put them in. So is there something that you still want to bring forward here to people from your own story and experience?
Well, I just hope that young women today that might feel sad that they have smaller breasts, or, if they are considering breast implants, I just hope that they will reconsider, and that there will be a lot more awareness on breast implant illness, and that it will be recognized that it is a thing, that it's not made up. It really isn't. It's just sad that it is denied the way it is by doctors. Uh, I only know of maybe one or two surgeons in Denmark that do explants, where they remove the capsule as well. And it's just terrible. People are getting sick, and they should not be allowed to be put into bodies at all. I just hope, yeah, it will be difficult. It will be difficult because the breast implant industry is such a big thing that it won't go away. They won't stop, and people won't stop getting them in. But I hope that there can be brought some awareness to the fact that they are making people sick. The proof and the evidence is in all of those Facebook groups. It is a thing. People are getting sick, and people are getting better when they have them removed.
Yes. And I would recommend to anyone who's considering getting surgery to join one of these Facebook groups. And then if you still want to get the surgery, then go ahead. But like listen to the people that have suffered and then make your decision. Okay. So yeah, I'm really grateful for you for coming on here and sharing your story, and I hope we can bring more awareness to this topic. And I mean, I am also happy in a way that it's become trendy also to be more flat-chested. So I mean, that's very beautiful if we compare to like when I was younger, it was a different kind of. So I mean, we should honor our bodies and body types, and we're all different. And I think that's so beautiful that we, with breasts, without breasts, with small, big breasts, like it doesn't matter really. Like it's we should own our own kind of the way we look and the uniqueness that we bring into this world.
Exactly.
I think it's beautiful. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope that people got some new perspective on this topic and can find something. I mean, if you have a friend that's considering this surgery and you're listening, then please, direct them to this episode to kind of hear out our stories and then make a decision from there. So yeah, thank you. And I wish everyone a beautiful day.
Sounds good.